So one of the things I'm always hearing, especially beginners talk about, is they're struggling with retention, and a lot of this normally is to do with how you are attaching your bases, and this is what I'm going to show you now how to do, because like I said, if your base is not attached and it is only the base that you need attached to this area of the lash, then you won't get great retention out of your clients. And this is something I see a lot of on my skill building courses, which we work on with students. And in a nutshell, what is happening is that students are coming in with a lash and they're actually attaching it probably something like this, or like here. So they think they've attached it, but actually the base is sticking up in the air. And this means within a couple of days, your lashes are going to come off because the base now is attached, and you're going to get oils underneath there, and it is going to cause that lash to break and fall off. So the key is to get that base nice and snug onto that natural lash. And you're probably thinking, right, okay, how do we know how to correctly do this? Now, this is all about angles. It's about coming in at the correct angle, and I'm going to show you what I mean by this. So I've taken my lash, and here it is about, so you can see I'm resting my pinky finger here so that I'm nice and secure. It is about making sure that the angle that you come in at matches that natural lash, so that the base of this extension meets the base of that lash. I am not worried about the rest of it. You can see up along the top here, there's no contact. That's not what I want. I only want like a 1 to 2 millimeter contact point there. So this means that you must also, or almost, have like a mirror image, so that this extension that I'm about to place on mirrors the curve or the curvature of the lash you want to place it on. The problem that I see with my students is they either come in at an angle that is too upright and they're coming in like this, and they're trying to make contact. Well, that's never going to happen. Look, that's never going to stick on there. And they get a bend and a kink going on, and then they've kinked their lash, as you can see there. So that angle is never ever going to work. The other angle that I see, and this is what I see a lot of, is students coming in like this. They come in from underneath and the lash is sticking up, and they're trying to attach it like this and it's not working. They're like, why can't I get that lash on? And then what I see them do is come in at the right angle with the right amount of glue, place it on, and find that that extension just goes and just sucks on to that natural lash. So the key to great retention a lot of the time is the correct angle to come in at. And I always say to my students, it's a bit like landing a helicopter on an egg. So imagine that this extension is the helicopter, and you are hovering that helicopter down, and you make contact with that natural lashes, which is the egg. It's a gentle contact. We do not force down and force it on, because actually look what happens now when I force it on. Can you see how my base actually points up towards the sky? So this is why you just need a very gentle pressure. So if I actually go into my glue here, I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm going to come in at the right angle, mirroring what that natural lash does, make contact, and just let it go. And there you go, I've got a seamless bond. Now you can see that there's no attachment within this area here. I don't want that. I don't want it to do that. I want it to bond at the bottom only here. This is the only area that I need. And then also have this little tag so that when it comes to an infill, I can peel the lashes apart. When it comes to natural lashes, every single natural lash sits at a different level. Some clients' lashes curl right back towards you. So let's say this natural lash, might well curl right back like this. And some clients' natural lashes sit very low. Oh, we've popped that one off. Let's get rid of him. They'll sit very low, so they'll be very flat. So this is always going to dictate the angle that you come in at with your lash. So for example, let me grab a lash here out of shot. If my client's lashes were very flat and pointed downwards towards the pad, I would automatically need to turn my hand backwards like so that I would mirror what her natural lash did, which was pointing downwards away from me. But if she's got a slightly curlier natural lash, I would need to turn my hand over, and this is what I call drinking a cup of tea, so it's like I'm drinking tea. I would need to turn my hand over so that I could get my angle correctly. So the angle that you approach the natural lash is always going to be dictated by that client. So every angle is going to be completely different depending on what that lash does. And it's that ability to be able to bring that extension in to mirror what that lash is doing Let's do it here. So you can see it's actually making the same shape. Look at the gap between the two of them. It should be parallel so that I can just land that on. It's a bit like if you were trying to land a helicopter and you came in at the wrong angle, you're going to crash. That helicopter has got to come in parallel to the ground it is landing on. So if that ground was on a hill, the helicopter would have to land with its nose upwards so that it was, landing upwards on a hill. If it was landing downwards on a hill, it'd have to put its nose downwards. And this is the same that we do with the natural lash. We change the angle of our hand to match the angle that we're coming in at. And that is going to mean that every single time your base makes perfect contact with the natural lash, don't do what I've done there and lose contact. Make contact with the natural lash and get a perfect bond, and that is going to really assist with your retention on clients.